Hello, and welcome to another monthly reading from Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen, an Australian sociologist with a primary interest in the language of colour as it pertains to the way in which people view each other and also in the way in which we act in our everyday lives. This month, I've decided to choose a new oracle that I received just recently. It's by Sharina Starr, and it's called the Fortune Oracle. There aren't very many cards in this, but I have noticed that the cards that do exist here are really quite interesting. So hopefully they'll help us along our journey in May, because we've had a couple of really torrid months. Everyone in the world has been subjected to quite a high level of anxiety. And I hope that this month's readings for May 2026 will help to curb some of that anxiety and bring us all back down to earth and to a situation where we can actually be kind to one another. So let's get started, shall we? To begin with, let's select an oracle card to help us along and give us some extra definition to the colour reading. As you can see, my shuffling has not improved at all. Anyway. Okay, we'll pop the card over here. And now I need some colour for people born in September. I need a combination to describe their strengths. And what do we have here? We have grey on cyan. The obstacles they will face in May. And here we have black on pink. And additional energy that underpins and underlies the activities, and we have brown on red. Very well then, the strength. This is what your strongest point is for people born in the month of September. Inside yourself, you're feeling fairly connected. You've got lots of friends, lots of associates. You're feeling calm and composed, and things in your life are going along pretty smoothly. In the real world, there are lots of different things happening that could be cause for disturbance, except that because this is a strength, you are in fact feeling pretty well objective about most things. Grey in the real world generally says that you're treading a middle path. You're not leaning too far in one direction or in the other direction, and this helps you to maintain the peace and tranquility that exists within yourself. The two colours together are not something that's particularly vibrant, but it says that this is a steady, everyday, go with the flow type of activity, type of ethos, type of spirit. What you are facing as an obstacle, however, is black on pink. Now, this is a little bit difficult because while black is related to grey insofar as black is a darker version of grey, it contains no white, nevertheless, the black in the real world tends to suggest that there is a lot of isolation happening here. Whereas here with grey, the isolation is almost self-inflicted. Yes, you are still avoiding some things and getting involved in others, but it's fairly well stuff that is able to be managed. With black, it's a case of there's a withdrawal altogether. Now, why is this withdrawal likely to be a problem? It's an obstacle because inside there is a lack, there is a need for more energy. There is no energy. You're feeling poorly, you're feeling neglected, you're feeling as though you need more love and attention, but it's just not happening for you at the moment. And throughout May, if this is the obstacle that you need to overcome, it's because that lack of attention is causing you to feel dark thoughts, to feel as though, well, basically nobody loves me. And this is such an oppressive feeling that it is actually causing you to feel somewhat ill inside. You have no energy, you can't resist anything, you can't fight back. It's like you've given up. We have, however, additional energy here, and this additional energy is brown on red. Now, red and pink, black and grey, are versions of the same colour, but taken to extreme. Red doesn't have any white in it. Pink has a little bit of red and a lot of white. So whereas this is a weakness that is causing you to feel unloved, and that is the obstacle you need to overcome, this additional energy here says that in fact you do have lots of energy. Red internally is all about suppression of that energy, though. It has to do with being very active or having a jumping out of your skin type of energy. That energy is contained. It can be anything from passions that have to do with sexual energy through to being enraged. You're keeping a lid on things. And why are you doing that? Is because in the real world, there are goals and strategies, and there are things that you want to achieve for yourself, things that are available to you to achieve, but it requires you to create those goals and to work towards those goals by developing the practical skills that are necessary. Brown and red together are a very dynamic combination. And because this is the additional energy you have with you, basically what this is asking you to do is to take some of that energy, some of that frustration that you've been feeling internally, and put it to good use. Do something with yourself. Find yourself a job, perhaps. Give yourself a new way of either earning money or benefiting others. Do something that takes you outside of yourself. Fulfill a goal, an aim, an ambition that you have. Now, let's look at the colours that are missing, because they will give us some ideas to what it is that you can do to assist this process. You have black, but there's no white. You have red, but there's no yellow. There's no green or blue, but you do have brown. There's no orange. You do have grey, no purple, but there is pink and there is cyan. Now, the colours that are missing here, these 6 colours, are all representing different skill sets. And each one of these skill sets is, for whatever reason, not currently available to you throughout the month of May. Whereas these ones over here representing the colours that have been pulled for you are the ones that are active for you. Now, the idea here, of course, is to look at these ones that are missing and choose from amongst those the one that is visually most appealing and then the one that is visually least appealing, and applying those 2 colours in some form to your activities throughout the month of May. When you do that, you give yourself potential access to all of the other colours that and the behaviours that belong to those colours that are also missing. So it gives you the best and the worst of it, which allows you access to the rest of it. Now, I've given information about these colours, the missing colours, in the past, and I don't intend to do that this time because I have a number of videos available that look at each of those colours in detail as a personality type and gives you clues as to what sort of behaviours link to those particular colours. What I am interested in doing this time is to look at each of these individual colours that you have received and look at the interactions between them. So let's start. The strength is grey on cyan. The obstacle is black on pink. And the additional skill set is brown on red. Now, leaving aside the additional skills for a moment, let's just examine firstly the interaction between the strengths and the obstacle. And we do this by swapping over these two. So what we have here, we have the strength activity, that is, being able to maintain that equilibrium, that middle road, not too hot, not too cold, just right, the Goldilocks zone, if you like. Only this time, instead of it linking to peace and harmony, it links to this feeling of lacking of love. There is a need for attention, but that attention, everywhere you look for it, is not as intense as it was here, where there's an absolute lack of it. Nevertheless, you are receiving a little bit of attention. And in that respect, crossing over those two skill sets creates something that is slightly more positive than it was here. Similarly, if we look at the black activity and place it over the need or drive, which is the cyan color, the need for peace and harmony and connectedness, then what we find here is that there is a distinct lack of connectedness happening. Now, is that good or is it bad? It depends on what sort of connections you are looking for. The peace and tranquility and the harmony and the stability that occurs here as your strength still remains. But this time, instead of seeking for connections outside, which comes from the gray, we have black, and black closes that down. You find yourself instead, as an option in the way that you treat these colors, instead having to take time out to remove yourself for a while and spend that time considering what your options are. Start to look at what is going on inside yourself. What do you need to face up to? What realities are you hiding from yourself? And how do they impinge upon your ability to remain calm and cool and collected and feeling as though you are at peace? We can do the same thing this time if we look at how the intervening potential energy would interact with these colors. And again, we just simply swap them over. Here we have, again, the gray, the ability to take the middle road, to be objective. Only this time it comes linked to the energy that you have stored up inside. This is a search for something meaningful within your life. You have lots of energy. Now remember that this is a strength and this is the accompanying energy that is also potentially strength inducing. So there is a lot of energy here, and that energy comes through as trying to find an outlet for it that will not be harmful, because ultimately red is the color that says be careful. It's a warning sign. And because it comes through as a form of frustration, in the real world, you are asking yourself to spend time finding that path that eases the frustration, but does not deplete your energies completely. On the other hand, we also can go in the opposite direction. We can have that goal-setting agenda up here linked to the peace and harmony that we have down here. And here, our reason for being, our wanting to be connected in social life, comes through as a particular objective. There are things that you want to obtain, there are connections you want to make, and those connections are available to you, but only if you take the steps necessary in order to make those connections. Now, there is a third issue here, and that is that red and cyan are opposites on the color wheel. That always means there is a swing from one extreme to the other. a massive amount of energy just waiting to burst through. And here, a feeling of peace and harmony and contentment and connectedness that says, I don't need anything else in my life. I have everything I need. This is I want. This is I don't need anything else. Because they're both in the driver section, or the underneath section of each of these circles, it means that they are opposing ideas when it comes to wanting to push you forward. These are drives, they're motivations that occur inside. In the real world, you have grey and brown. There's not much there that gives you any sort of excitement. But at the same time, brown is always about slow and steady progress. Grey is about making sure that you maintain whatever equilibrium and balance is necessary in order to achieve whatever it is that you're looking for here. We can also do that crossing over with the obstacle. So here we have, again, we shift them across. And here we have now the energy of being able to create goals and learn something new, learn a skill, develop yourself into a direction that gives you some sort of satisfaction. But this time it is linked to pink rather than red. I've said earlier that pink is a diluted form of red. Red has lots of energy, you're jumping out of your skin, eager to get started. The pink, however, comes from the obstacle. This is that you feel out of sorts. There's either a feeling of illness here or else a feeling that you really don't have what it takes. There is a lack here. And that causes you to be uncertain about what sorts of things that you really do want to achieve, to attain in life, and will you actually be able to do so? There's a lot of self-doubt here. On the other hand, we have here black and red. Black and red as a combination always has to do with sexuality. It has to do with the way in which you present yourself in the world. Are you a strong person? Are you an aggressive person? Are you someone who simply allows others to walk all over you? The black on pink is the latter of those. People can walk all over you. They can take advantage of you. But black and red is different. The red aspect says that you can stand up for yourself, that you can fight back. Someone tries to put you in your place, you can resist. And that resistance is one that enables you to feel as though you are the person that you want to be in life. The issue here, of course, is that when you're crossing an additional activity, an additional skill set with an obstacle, it means that you really aren't really certain about who you are and what you are capable of. And maybe that's an area that you might like to explore. Let's now have a look at the oracle card to see what it has to give us. And it says, Chariot. Charge ahead with confidence. Stay strong and focused. Well, charging ahead is definitely what this red is about, and it comes from the additional energy. So regardless of how you might be feeling about the issues that you're facing, can't get a job, can't find something to do that satisfies me, feeling a little depressed, out of sorts because I feel as though I'm being left behind. But here is your energy to charge forward. It's up to you to make use of that. Well, there's one thing for sure, and that is, even though we've had a rough number of months, February, March, and April, May doesn't really offer us all of the wonderful future that we might be hoping for. There's still going to be struggle. There's still going to be a need to reevaluate where we are going, what we are doing, what we want of life. If your reading resonates with you, then certainly I urge you to make use of those missing colours, because they will make a difference to the way in which May 2026 works out for you. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for the month, and I'll see you again at the beginning of June. May the colours of your life bring you all the things that you need for your own happiness and higher good. Catch you next time. Bye.